Hi everyone, I'm Michael Manrique and I'm one of the Habit Guys. We teach realtors prospecting habits so they finally become top producing agents. And welcome to the Realtor Habits Podcast, where agents don't need more stuff, they need better habits. Before we get into today's episode, I got a question for you. Are you ready to kick off 2025 with a bang? If you're tired of the same old grind and looking to make this your breakout year, listen up. Starting January 6th, we're launching the Habit University 2025 21-day success boot camp. Designed to help real estate agents like you build powerful habits, crush your goals, and unlock consistent success. Imagine having the confidence to prospect daily, the discipline to stay focused, and the systems to close more deals than ever before. That's what this program is all about. Seats are limited, and trust me, you don't want to be the agent who looks back and wishes they had joined. So take action now. Secure your spot today. Head to www.habitguys.com/2025. Again, that's habitguys.com/2025. And let's start 2025 by dominating your market. See you on January 6th. If you know anyone that can gain value from this podcast, please do us a huge favor and share it with them. We're here to help as many realtors as possible, and we appreciate your help to do so. All right, let's get into today's episode. In today's episode, called Sense and Success, leveraging your senses to build unshakable habits, we'll uncover how engaging your senses can create stronger, more automatic habits. Plus, we'll explore fascinating research that backs it all up. Get ready for actionable tips to use sight, sound, smell, taste, and touch to your advantage in habit formation. Let's get started. Before we dive into practical tips, let's first understand why our senses play such a pivotal role in habit formation. Research from Duke University tells us that habits account for about 40% of our daily behaviors. But here's the thing. Habits aren't just mental, they're also sensory. The more our senses are engaged during a habitual action, the more likely it is to stick because sensory cues anchor behavior in our memory. For example, a study published in Nature Neuroscience showed that sensory-rich experiences activate the brain's reward pathways more effectively, making us feel good and reinforcing the desire to repeat the behavior. So, the key takeaway here is this. The senses are gateways to habit automation. Let's break this down by sense and see how you can put each one to work to form habits that last. Number one, sight. Make it visible. One of the most critical aspects of building habits is making the cues obvious, the triggers obvious. For example, if you're trying to build a habit of prospecting calls, keep your call list and scripts where you can see them, like on your desk or pinned to your vision board. And this is what I talk about all the time with my students. Literally hold it in your hand, get that index finger out, and as soon as someone picks up the phone, just follow your index finger as you read each word. Behavioral scientist Dr. B.J. Fogg, author of Tiny Habits, emphasizes that visual cues can drastically improve habit consistency. So here's a practical tip that you can implement. Place visual reminders in strategic locations. So again, a sticky note on your monitor that says, make 5 calls today could be a nudge you need. Second sense that we're going to talk about is sound, the power of audio anchors. Sounds trigger emotional responses and can become powerful habit anchors. For example, maybe you create a playlist of motivating music or set a specific ringtone to signal it's time to prospect. A study from the Journal of Experimental Psychology found that auditory cues can improve task adherence by creating a Pavlovian response. So a practical tip here is use sound alerts to create a ritual. For instance, play specific songs before you start your prospecting routine to get in the zone. Number 3, let's talk about smell. Unleashing emotional associations. Our senses of smell is closely tied to memory and emotion. Use it to create positive associations with your habits. For example, light a candle or use an essential oil diffuser with a specific scent like peppermint or citrus when you're prospecting. A study from Frontiers in Behavioral Neuroscience showed that certain scents like lavender, that's one of my favorite, can reduce stress and improve focus. So here's a practical tip. Pick a scent that energizes you and use it consistently during your prospecting or habit building activities. The fourth sense, touch. Engaging your sense of touch can ground you in the present and reinforce habits. For example, use a tactile object like a stress ball or textured pen while on calls to keep your hands engaged. Neuroscientist David Eagleman explains that physical sensations can serve as subtle anchors for mental focus. So a practical tip here is experiment with touching or with touch by choosing tools or objects that feel pleasant to hold while performing your habit. Lastly, taste. Taste is often overlooked, but can be a powerful motivator. For example, reward yourself with a sip of your favorite tea or coffee after completing a habit. Studies in the Journal of Consumer Research shows that pairing habits with small indulgences increases habits' stickiness. So a practical tip might be to pair a habit with a treat. For instance, have your favorite snack ready as a reward for finishing your prospecting calls. Now, here's where the magic happens, layering multiple senses together. For example, imagine you're building a morning routine for prospecting, right? And if you want a step-by-step guide, go to HabitGuys.com and you'll see a free workshop where we walk you through that process. So you would start by playing energizing music, lighting a citrus-scented candle for smell, placing your call list on your desk for sight, and sipping coffee for taste, and holding a textured pen for touch. By combining senses, you create a multi-sensory habit loop that's much harder to break. Neuroscientist Dr. Wendy Suzuki explains that multi-sensory experiences stimulate more brain areas, leading to stronger neural connections. This is exactly what you want when creating unshakable habits. So let's bring it all together with an action plan. Number 1, identify one habit you want to build, like prospecting or a morning journal. Number 2, assign a sensory cue to each of the 5 senses. Number 3, layer these cues into a single habit routine. And number 4, track your progress and refine the sensory cues as needed. All right, that's a wrap on this episode. I hope you learned about your senses and how powerful they are to creating the actions, the consistency, and the prospecting habits that you need. If you found this episode helpful, please share it with a fellow real estate agent who might need a little sensory boost in their habit building journey. And don't forget to subscribe to the Realtor Habits podcast for more insights to help you prospect consistently and grow your business. Until next time, keep engaging your senses, building better habits, and creating the success you deserve.